Hello everybody, this is Johns Hopkins with Baltimore Heritage, and we're back with another of our 5-minute histories videos. And today we're going to talk about the Coca-Cola Bottling Company building behind me. I'm here at the intersection of Kirk Avenue and Exeter Hall Avenue in the neighborhood of Coldstream, Homestead, Montebello. We're just a little bit south of City College High School and a little bit west of Clifton Park, if you know where those are. And today we're going to talk a little bit about architecture and a little bit about bottling. If you've ever wondered how Coca-Cola goes from a formula in the company's vault, I am sure, in its headquarters in Atlanta, to a fizzy beverage in your refrigerator, we're going to try to talk a little bit about that. But let's start with the architecture part. The building, 1939, it's here in a corner of the neighborhood that was both residential and industrial. Its neighbors included a John Deere plow factory and a factory for International Harvester making, I'm not sure what, but something probably as heavy as a plow. So it was in good company. The Coca-Cola Bottling Company was in good company here along the B&O Railroad. The style of the building is Art Moderne. And Art Moderne arose in the 1930s and 1940s, really in response to the Great Depression. The style before that, Art Deco, that many of us are familiar with, think of the Empire State Building in New York or 10 Light Street here in Baltimore, was really lofty in its aspirations. Tall buildings, everything vertical, lots of neat ornamentation. Art Moderne was kind of like a humble version, maybe in response to the Depression, but it really emphasized low-level buildings and horizontal stuff. The folks who were designing Art Moderne liked flat roofs, like the building behind me. On the roof, there was usually never any kind of cornice or decorative work, which this does not have. And they loved glass block, which this building is full of. So our building here is a really good example of Art Moderne. It was designed by an architect out of Atlanta, where Coca-Cola is headquartered, so maybe no sort of wonder there. And there are, in fact, dozens of Coca-Cola Bottling Company buildings designed by the same firm that look about like ours does, so kind of a signature style. If you're like me, this is the type of building that you normally just whiz by and you don't give a second thought to. So next time you're near here or near a building like this, slow down, pull over, take a look. It's really very beautiful. If you're with somebody, you can turn to them and say, aha, that's in the Art Moderne architectural style, arose in the 1930s in response to the Great Depression. And they're going to think you're really cool, or they're going to think you're a kook. But take a chance, try it out. All right, let's talk about the building itself. And bottling. We're not going to focus on the origins of Coca-Cola or the secret formula, but Coca-Cola did start in 1888 when a gentleman named Asa Candler bought the formula for Coke, the secret formula, from John Pemberton in Atlanta. And it seems in hindsight that he kind of took a little while to get going. It took him 4 years to form the Coca-Cola Company. He was sitting on a gold mine, but it took him 4 years to form the company. And he was doing well, selling Coke at soda fountains in pharmacies. You took this syrupy mixture and you mixed it with carbonated water and you put it in a glass and you stirred it up, and that was your glass of Coca-Cola. But he knew he could do better if he had a better distribution network. And lucky for him, in 1892, when he incorporates Coca-Cola, here in Baltimore, a gentleman named William Painter starts a company called Crown Cork and Seal. Painter is an inventor and invents this little crimping cap that you can put on a glass bottle, and it keeps the contents airtight. And that's going to be good for Coke, as we'll see. It was also good for brewers. And here in Baltimore, the brewers did not need a second invitation at this invention. Before they could bottle beer, they could distribute their beer pretty much as far as a horse and cart could get in a day. And much further than that, the beer went stale. So now with a sealed bottle, they could get it out further. Asa Candler takes a little while longer to catch on to this idea. It takes him 7 years, so not until 1899. And the way he starts bottling Coca-Cola is interesting. A couple businessmen from Chattanooga, Tennessee approach him and say, hey, we've got this expensive equipment to bottle. We'd like to bottle Coca-Cola. Will you give us the rights to do that? And he says yes. And for whatever reason, he says yes in perpetuity. He gives them the right to bottle Coca-Cola forever. And so now we have one company, the Coca-Cola Company, that's got the formula for Coke, and another company, the Coca-Cola Bottling Company, that takes that formula, adds water, and puts it into bottles. The folks at the bottling company spread rapidly. The next year, they're in Atlanta by 1899. They're in Atlanta by 1900. And by 1919, they've got franchise bottling factories in 1,000 locations in every state in the country. So it is taking off. The franchise agreement, which I think a number of fast food restaurants use this also, is where local folks put up their own money to build the facility, and then they work in partnership with sort of the mother company to get the formulas and the products and get them out the door. This worked really well for Coca-Cola because not only could it get bottled all over the country, the local folks used their local know-how to get it distributed widely. And for some of us will remember in awe going at some remote gas station out in the middle of nowhere only to find a vending machine with a bottle of Coca-Cola in it, thinking, how did this get out here? That was the brilliance of the franchise arrangements. In 1928, all of these bottlers agreed to use the same bottle. That was right around the time, that signature Coca-Cola bottle that I think at first was green and then was clear for a while. That was right around the same time that the sales of Coca-Cola in bottles outstripped the sales at soda fountains. So bottling was here to stay and was really big business. We in Baltimore got our franchise, our bottling franchise, in 1905. So pretty early. Remember, 1899 was Chattanooga, 1900 was Atlanta, Baltimore 1905. And it started out downtown on Calvert Street, but pretty quickly, like everywhere else in the world, we learned that we in Baltimore really loved Coca-Cola. So our bottling facility expanded and came out here to a facility not too far from where we are now. But by 1939, they needed an even bigger plant. Coca-Cola was one of the few companies and few products that actually expanded during the Great Depression. Maybe in the 20s and 30s, when Prohibition was going on, people turned to Coke when they couldn't drink beer. And during the Depression, it wasn't too expensive that many people, at least occasionally, could still afford it. So in 1939, we built our new state-of-the-art facility out here in the Art Moderne style. And bottled Coke until 1975. In 1975, the company moves out to an industrial park in Lansdowne outside of Baltimore. For a while, beginning in the 1980s, paint is manufactured here. And then I believe the building sits vacant. But today there is a school here, grades 4 through 8, I believe, the Baltimore Collegiate School for Boys, training the next generation of leaders, hopefully in Baltimore. So I'll encourage you, the next time you're here, come and take a look at this wonderful building. Say thanks for the school, for both what it's doing with our kids, but also for saving this great building. But I will end with a final note that if you're looking for another example, a great example of Art Moderne, go down to the old Kresge's department store building on Lexington Street, right near Lexington Market. That's another fantastic example. And with that, I'll say thanks so much, and we'll see you next time.